You say you're the best in the league. There's been some give and take back and forth, I don't know, with Cooper Kupp and other guys.
Another third down, 3rd and 3. Cousins looks to throw, lofting for the end zone, and Jefferson! Touchdown, Minnesota!
And we talked to your buddy, Jamar Chase, when we were at Bengals camp. And this is what he had to say about who's the better of the two.
You and Justin Jefferson, you're very good friends. Who's the better receiver?
I'm going to say me, of course.
What would he say?
Him.
As we welcome you to Orchard Park with 2 minutes left in a 4-point game. Kirk Cousins back to throw on 4th and 18. He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Climbs the ladder. Oh, my goodness! Justin Jefferson pulled it in.
Steals it from Cam Lewis.
Justin Jefferson attended Destrehan High School in Louisiana. During his time there, it wasn't hard to tell that he was the standout player on the team. In his senior year, Jefferson recorded 44 receptions for 956 yards and 9 touchdowns. Despite these impressive stats, Jefferson was not highly regarded as a recruit. According to 247 Sports, he was rated as a low 3-star recruit, ranked as the 308th wide receiver in the nation, and the 76th overall recruit in Louisiana. Other respected recruiting sites even had him as low as a 2-star recruit. These low ratings were likely swayed by Jefferson's slender build, as he was listed at 6'2" and just 180 pounds. Metrics aside, these modest rankings might surprise many given his later success, but it shows that even from the start, Jefferson was somewhat under the radar. Despite his low public rankings, Jefferson's talent and potential were evident to those who watched him closely. He had the raw athleticism and playmaking ability that hinted at a bright future, even if the recruiting sites didn't fully recognize it. Moving on to college, Jefferson chose to attend Louisiana State University. The decision to attend LSU was influenced by a few factors. First, LSU had a strong football program and a history of developing NFL talent. Additionally, Jefferson's older brothers, Jordan and Ricky, had both played at LSU, making it a family tradition. While there were most likely other colleges in consideration, LSU was the clear choice for Jefferson, given its proximity to home and its prestigious football program. Going into his first year at LSU, Justin was not viewed as a top-tier recruit as mentioned earlier. He arrived in Baton Rouge as an unheralded prospect, but he quickly made an impression with his work ethic and natural talent. Despite being under the radar, Jefferson's potential started to become apparent to the coaching staff and his teammates. He ended up playing 3 seasons with the Tigers, and his stats improved each year. In his freshman season in 2017, Jefferson saw limited action, playing in just 2 games and recording no catches. However, his breakout came in his sophomore year. In 2018, he led the team with 54 receptions for 875 yards and 6 touchdowns. This performance set the stage for what was to come. Jefferson's junior year in 2019 was nothing short of spectacular. He played a crucial role in LSU's historic season, which culminated in a national championship. Jefferson recorded 111 receptions for 1,540 yards and 18 touchdowns. His performance in the college football playoff semifinals against Oklahoma was one to remember, as he got 14 passes for 227 yards and 4 touchdowns, all of which came in the first half. LSU defeated OU 63-28 and advanced to the national championship, where they beat the Clemson Tigers. Overall, Justin ended his career at LSU with 165 receptions, 2,415 yards, and 24 touchdowns. His accomplishments, including being a key part of LSU's national championship team and his dominant performance against Oklahoma, solidified his status as one of the top receivers in college football. As the 2020 NFL Draft approached, Justin Jefferson was viewed as one of the top wide receiver prospects, but not necessarily the best. At the NFL Combine, Jefferson put on a show, running a 4.43 second 40-yard dash, which was faster than many scouts had expected. He also excelled in the vertical jump and broad jump, showcasing his pure athleticism. Despite his impressive combine performance, there were still some questions about Jefferson. Compared to the other top receivers in the 2020 draft class, such as CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, and Henry Ruggs, Jefferson was seen by some as less dynamic and explosive. However, his strengths were clear. He had excellent hands, precise route running skills, and the ability to make plays in traffic. His weaknesses were seen as a lack of elite top-end speed, and there were questions about his ability to play on the outside versus primarily in the slot. Scouts saw Jefferson as a polished receiver with a high floor, meaning he was expected to be a solid NFL player, but some doubted if he had the ceiling to be a superstar, a statement many would laugh at today. Before we dive into where Jefferson fell to in the 2020 draft, let's take a closer look at the 4 wide receivers who were drafted before him. With the 12th pick, the Las Vegas Raiders took the first wide receiver off the board by selecting Henry Ruggs III from Alabama. Known for his blazing speed, in 3 seasons at Alabama, Ruggs totaled 98 receptions for 1,716 yards and 24 touchdowns. His main strengths were his elite speed and ability to stretch the field. While some had concerns about his route running and consistency in catching contested balls, the Raiders, who always seemed to be enamored with speed, likely drafted Ruggs to add a deep threat to their offense. Although his stats weren't eye-popping, Ruggs had a promising start to his NFL career. In his rookie season, he recorded 26 receptions for 452 yards and 2 touchdowns. There were many instances in which he showed his potential as a deep threat for the future of the Raiders' offense. However, Ruggs' career took a tragic turn in November of 2021 when he was involved in a fatal car accident that resulted in the death of a woman and her dog. Ruggs was subsequently charged with DUI resulting in death and was released by the Raiders shortly after the incident. Ruggs is currently serving a 3 to 10 year prison sentence in Nevada. It truly is just a horrible situation all around, and may thoughts and prayers continue to be with the victim's family. With the 15th pick, the Denver Broncos drafted Jerry Jeudy. Jeudy, also from Alabama, had a standout college career with 159 receptions for 2,742 yards and 26 touchdowns. He was known for his exceptional route running, agility, and ability to create separation. Jeudy was critiqued at times for having too many drops, as well as his slight frame, but his production at Alabama spoke for itself. The Broncos likely drafted Jeudy based off of this production and his ability to be a precise route runner and reliable target for their young quarterback at the time, Drew Lock. Jeudy had a solid rookie season with the Broncos, recording 52 catches for 856 yards and 3 touchdowns. Unfortunately, his second season in 2021 was hampered by injuries, limiting him to 10 games and 0 touchdowns. He bounced back in 2022 with a more productive season, but he still failed to crack the 1,000 receiving yard mark. Despite his potential, Jeudy has struggled with consistency and injuries. Overall, his performance has been somewhat underwhelming compared to expectations. A few months ago, Jeudy was traded to the Cleveland Browns, where he hopes to revive his career and live up to the potential that made him worthy of a first-round pick. With the 17th pick, the Dallas Cowboys drafted CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma. At Oklahoma, Lamb amassed 173 receptions for 3,292 yards and 32 touchdowns. Lamb was praised for his playmaking ability, hands, and yards after the catch. He had some concerns regarding his top-end speed, and the fact that he played in a spread offense could potentially have inflated his stats. The Cowboys likely drafted Lamb for his versatility and dynamic playmaking skills to add to their already potent offense. Lamb has had an impressive NFL career so far with the Cowboys. In his rookie season, he recorded 74 receptions for 935 yards and 5 touchdowns. He continued to improve in his second season, improving his numbers in each of those categories. In 2022, he elevated his game even further, catching over 100 passes for 1,359 yards and 9 touchdowns, earning Pro Bowl and second-team All-Pro honors. By the end of the 2023 season, Lamb has solidified himself as one of the best young receivers in the NFL. While many would argue that he's not quite at Justin Jefferson's level, Lamb has undoubtedly been the best offensive player for the Cowboys and is certainly one of the top wide receivers in the league. And finally, we have the most head-scratching draft pick out of the 4 players taken before Justin Jefferson. With the 21st pick, the Philadelphia Eagles drafted Jalen Reagor out of TCU, 1 slot before the Vikings took Justin Jefferson. Reagor had 148 receptions for 2,248 yards and 22 touchdowns in his college career. Reagor's strengths were definitely his speed, explosiveness, and ability to make plays downfield. While his weaknesses included inconsistency and drops, the Eagles were looking for a speedy wide receiver to complement their offense, and it can be assumed that they saw Reagor as the perfect fit. To put it bluntly, Reagor's career with the Eagles was disappointing. In his rookie season, he managed just 31 receptions for 396 yards and 1 touchdown. His second season didn't show much improvement, with 33 catches for 299 yards and 2 touchdowns. Reagor struggled to make an impact and was often criticized for his performance. In an ironic twist, Reagor was traded to the Minnesota Vikings in the 2022 offseason, becoming teammates with Justin Jefferson, the very player the Eagles passed on to draft Reagor. There's even a hilarious video of the Vikings front office celebrating when the Eagles drafted Reagor, knowing that Jefferson had just fallen into their laps.
He's going to take a receiver too, right?
Meanwhile, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. You thought they might go wide receiver. We've seen some wide receivers go off the board. It certainly seems like this would be a need that they need to fill.
All right, pick is in. We're on the clock. Jalen Reagor, wide receiver, TCU to the Eagles.
Let's go get him.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat.
I'm on it.
Nice.
Get Justin Jefferson on the clock right now.
I'm on it.
Wow.
Gary, you love this kid?
Yeah, I do, Coach. Love him. He's well versed in our offense already, Coach. He can play a lot of places. Very competitive. I mean, that's really.
How about that?
All right, Rick, I got Justin Jefferson, receiver, Louisiana State.
Hey, that's a great get.
With the Vikings, Reagor failed to turn his career around, serving primarily as a backup and special teams player. He's currently with the New England Patriots, but who knows if he'll even make their official 53-man roster. I wanted to highlight how each receiver's career has played out up until this point to really hammer home just how unpredictable the draft is. We can do all this discussion about the top rookie prospects and who's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes and who will be the biggest bust, but we won't really know until years after the player has been in the league. Now let's address the main question: how in the world did 21 teams, including the teams who weren't necessarily wide receiver needy, pass on Justin Jefferson? Despite his stellar college career and strong combine performance, there were a few factors that contributed to him being overlooked. Firstly, Jefferson was somewhat overshadowed by his LSU teammate Ja'Marr Chase, who would be eligible for the draft the following year in 2021. In 2019, Chase had an outstanding season with 84 receptions for 1,780 yards and 20 touchdowns, winning the Biletnikoff Award as the nation's top receiver. Chase's performance drew significant attention, and many viewed him as the more explosive prospect. Secondly, there were definitely some questions about Jefferson's ability to transition to the NFL. Some scouts viewed him primarily as a slot receiver, doubting his ability to play on the outside against NFL cornerbacks. This perception may have caused teams to question his versatility and overall ceiling. Teams also had concerns about Jefferson's top-end speed and ability to separate from defenders, which led them to prioritize receivers who were perceived as more explosive and faster once they got the ball in their hands. While Jefferson was still held in high regard, he was not seen as a can't-miss prospect like some of the other receivers in his class. These doubts and the presence of the other talented receivers heavily contributed to so many teams passing on him. Now we get to where Jefferson finally came off the board, where, with the 22nd overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings drafted the young receiver from LSU. Earlier in the 2020 offseason, the Vikings traded star wide receivers Stephon Diggs to the Buffalo Bills, receiving a first-round pick in return. This trade left a significant hole in their offense, creating a clear need for a top-tier wide receiver. When the Vikings were on the clock with the 22nd overall pick, Jefferson was still available. The The Vikings saw Jefferson as an ideal replacement for Diggs due to his reliable hands, route running prowess, and ability to make plays in crucial moments. Jefferson's fit in the Vikings offense was apparent. He could step in alongside Adam Thielen and immediately contribute. The Vikings' decision to draft Jefferson proved to be a masterstroke. He quickly became a focal point of their offense and one of the most productive receivers in the league. Jefferson's impact was immediate, and he shattered several rookie records, proving that the Vikings made the right choice in drafting him. Now I just want to take a quick look at Jefferson's NFL career with the Vikings up to this point. I don't want to spend too much time on this part because there's so much to cover, but Jefferson has truly made a name for himself in the league, so I just want to really quickly go through his NFL career, highlighting his stats and achievements. Justin Jefferson burst onto the NFL scene in his rookie year. He finished the season with 88 receptions for 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns. Jefferson's dynamic play earned him a Pro Bowl selection and a spot on the PFWA All-Rookie team. He also finished second in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting, narrowly missing out on the award to Justin Herbert. Jefferson continued his impressive play in his sophomore season, recording 108 receptions for 1,616 yards and 10 touchdowns. He broke the NFL record for most receiving yards in the first 2 seasons of a career, amassing a total of 3,016 yards and surpassing Odell Beckham Jr.'s record of 2,755 yards. His outstanding performance earned him his second Pro Bowl selection and a spot on the second-team All-Pro. The 2022 season was another milestone for Jefferson. He led the NFL in both receptions, 128, and receiving yards, 1,809, breaking the Vikings franchise record for most receiving yards in a single season previously held by Randy Moss. His dominance on the field was recognized with a first-team All-Pro selection and his 3rd consecutive Pro Bowl appearance. Remarkably, Jefferson also finished 6th in MVP voting, a rare achievement for a wide receiver. This past season, in 2023, Justin suffered a hamstring injury that caused him to miss 7 games. Despite this setback, Jefferson still managed to record 68 receptions for 1,074 yards and 5 touchdowns. His resilience and ability to perform at a high level, even after missing many games, were nothing short of extraordinary. His performance ensured that he surpassed 1,000 receiving yards for the season, maintaining his streak of exceptional play. There are many more insane stats and achievements that I could continue to list, but this video is already getting pretty long, and at this point I feel like I'm just reading off a bunch of big numbers, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Justin Jefferson has quickly established himself as one of the premier wide receivers in the NFL. His combination of precise route running, exceptional hands, and playmaking ability has made him a cornerstone of the Vikings offense and one of the league's most exciting players to watch. Despite facing challenges like his hamstring injury in 2023, his resilience and talent have consistently shown through, ensuring his place among the top players in the NFL today. And there you have it, the incredible journey of Justin Jefferson up to this point in his career, and how 21 teams made the mistake of passing on him in the 2020 draft. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on which player's story you'd like me to cover next. I really appreciate you sticking around through the whole video. It means a ton. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.